Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And let's cut to the chase. Welcome back to RSPB Ouse Fen. Now, as I stated in my previous videos from the North Norfolk coast, I was supposed to be in Norfolk today, but plans changed. And I was like, do you know what? I'm still gonna come out with the camera. So I've come down to RSPB Ouse Fen. Now, what I will say is this is the first time I've come down during the day and not actually on an evening, and it was supposed to be 20 degrees today and sunny intervals. That ain't sunny intervals, but I'm hoping the cloud is going to break later on. Now, I haven't done any filming up until this point, purely because I literally was walking down here and I thought, oh, I'll get the vlogging camera out in a minute, and next thing I know, a sedge warbler pops up, lands on some shrub, absolutely beautiful, start taking pictures. Just as I finished taking pictures of the sedge warbler, a reed bunting flies in and lands probably 10 foot in front of me at the most, and he just perched up on this one single reed, and he sat there for ages. The downside is, I didn't realise, but the settings on my cameras were still set to last night. Again, if you watch that video, I was having real problems with the light. So I was taking them at 1/200th of a second, handheld f6.3. So I'm hoping they've come out sharp enough. Now, anyway, what I want to talk about right now, or not now, in this video anyway, is since I've been doing wildlife photography and switched to Sony, I've actually started using a function on the camera more than I've ever done previously. Now, one of the reasons that I've never really used this function in the camera before is because when I used to do landscape photography as well as other photography as well, I used to just be able to change the settings on the fly. If something didn't look right, I would just change one of the three main elements: your aperture, shutter speed, ISO. And the other reason is because before I switched to Sony, trying to get to this function on the Canon meant pressing the right buttons to actually get there. Whereas with Sony, it's actually really easily accessible. Now, I'm sure some of you were going, oh, I know what he's talking about, but we'll talk more about it in a moment. So I'm just bimbling around Ouse Fen at the minute. So I had that great opportunity with the sedge warbler and the reed bunting, and I've now just had a great opportunity with some great leg geese babies. You know, I'm really on my joys of spring baby drive at the moment, and another sedge warbler as well. The place is absolutely filled with birds. Now, I wasn't sure how it would go, considering I'd never been down here during the day, and I'm not sure if this actual cloud, rather than having sunny intervals or clear skies, is really helping. But yeah, I'll stick those pictures up now, and let's see what else we can see down at Ouse Fen. Okay, I'll tell you what, the warblers and buntings are putting on a fantastic show today. Giving me some really, really good opportunities to get some really nice environmental shots. So yeah, really, really happy with that. So this function then that I keep using now, just before I tell you what it is, there are tons of flies around me, I apologise. The reason I use it is because I use auto ISO, and it allows me to change how the auto ISO works, and it is quite simply exposure compensation. So with the Sonys, the exposure compensation is there on a reel. Now, it's just above the back focus button. So if I'm focused on that's just some coots. If I'm focused on a bird and it's looking too bright through the EVF, sorry, I can quickly just reach my thumb up and adjust it and knock it down. It's taken a little bit of practice, I'm not going to lie, knowing whether to turn it left or right for the increasing or decreasing the exposure compensation. But it has become such a handy tool. On the Canons, you used to have to press a button and move one of the wheels, and which wheel it was dependent on two settings that were with this button. It was a bit more of a pain. This is going back to the old digital SLR days. And I never needed to use it. If you think I'm set up for a landscape photography shot, I'm not using auto ISO or any auto function at all. So I didn't need to use any form of compensation. Whereas now, because I use that auto ISO, as much as I love Sonys, they don't always get that exposure right, and it just allows me to rapidly change it quickly. So there you have it. That's the function that I'm now using all the time. Which also, going back to the whole camera settings thing, means that if I'm using my base settings, it just allows me to change those things a lot quicker. What an afternoon of photography. So you can see that we're actually starting to get some breaks in the clouds, but it's still really overcast and it's allowing a much softer light, which is great, because the problem with coming out at this time of day, if it was perfectly clear skies, is you've got that risk of some really harsh light. However, weather aside, I've had an absolutely fantastic day so far with the warblers and the buntings. They've been putting on a real show. I've literally had them flying up 10 feet in front of me, and they're not scared either. It's been absolutely brilliant. I got what I think is a juvenile because it had quite a spotty face and had a bug in its mouth. And it was literally just hopping from reed to reed right in front of me. It gave me perfect opportunity to get some fantastic closer shots of reed buntings. And also as well, they're flying up onto the tops of the reeds and they're sitting there singing away. I don't know if you can actually hear any of the sound coming down my microphone now, but it's just absolutely fantastic. I mean, I know today's video was obviously talking about the topic of now using exposure compensation, which I'd never done before. And the last video I did from down here said about how amazing this place is. It just gets better. I did have the encounter with a marsh harrier. I think it was a marsh harrier anyway. The problem I had was that it's very, very backlit. I say lit, obviously, with cloudy skies. It was just very shadowy, very dark. But I didn't want to push the exposure compensation and just end up with white sky. So I'm going to have a proper look at that when I get it back on the camera. Didn't fly like a red kite, which is why I don't think it is. I think it was the marsh harrier. However, they didn't come that close either. There was a pair of them flying together at one point. Yeah, I didn't really get any pictures of that because they were definitely in the distance. I was tracking them in my EVF, following them around, but they just never came close enough to get a decent shot of the pair of them. And to be fair, the one when it was on its own, when I was watching it fly, didn't really come close enough for a decent shot. So, you know, I'm still yet to get a decent shot of a marsh harrier. I'd love a lovely frame filling head on shot, but yeah, I'm not that lucky, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm going to carry on wandering around, just going to have some coffee and see what else there is I can see, because to be fair, I've not really paid much attention to what's actually on the water, although it does look quiet on the water. I've seen a little egret and a heron when we first got down here before I got distracted by all the warblers and buntings. So yeah, oh, what a place, what a day. It's so nice to come out and not have to worry about the gates closing before I can run out of here. Apparently there is other places you can park where, wow, that's loud, and you can walk in and walk out without having to worry about the gates. I think there's a car park in the local town and you walk in on the other side of the river and you can get in that way. But for speed, it's easier to park up there and then you haven't got the extra walk. But that's me being lazy. That sun's just starting to push through some clouds now, as you can probably tell from harsh lighting. So yeah, I'll be honest with you though, it's not that bright. Now I'm just cutting through between the two lagoons. I've still got probably 45 minutes before I was planning on heading off. So I've still got plenty of time to just enjoy Ouse Fen. Yeah, I think what I'm probably going to do today is bimble round for a bit longer, but I think I might try and organise just a little get together down here of a few of us. So if you're interested, you'll have to pop a comment on here and we'll just meet up at Ouse Fen one weekend day and we'll just come for several hours bimble. Yeah, actually I really like that plan. We'll talk about it more in another time, but this place is just phenomenal. I'm just so in awe. But yeah, coming back to talking about exposure compensation, it is such a handy tool to have, especially if you're using something like shutter priority, aperture priority, auto ISO. It's nice to have that ability. And as I say, the positioning on the Sony's camera, they really thought about that. Obviously, they're designing it to be quite a compact camera, these mirrorless ones. But to have that ability to just literally back focus, finger on the shutter, pull it up, whirl the wheel, back down onto back focus, or even leave your finger on a half press. Kudos to Sony. Now, it'd be interesting to find out if Nikon, Canon and the likes are the same nowadays. Now we've switched to mirrorless, because trying to do that on a Canon digital SLR would have been an absolute, not nightmare, you'd get used to it, but you'd literally be pressing the button, whirl the right wheel, make sure you got the right one, get the right thing dialed in. It's just so much quicker and easier. So yeah, give us your thoughts on using exposure compensation. The other great advantage as well is that nowadays with the electronic viewfinders, you get an instantaneous view without having to take some pictures, look at the back of the camera, take some more pictures if you wanted that instant check to make sure it looks good. So yeah, right, I'm going to keep bimbling around for a little bit longer and I'll pop up some more pictures and see if I can capture anything else. There's a lot of black gulls flying around though, and if you remember remember my last video from RSPB Snetcham, I actually got swooped at by a black-headed gull, so I'm a little bit twitchy at the moment, but yeah, that was on me. So yeah, stick with us, let's see what else we can see. Okay, I'm done down here. I'm starting to feel tired now. 2 videos yesterday, 1 today. I'm starting to get a wee bit sleepy. But what a day as well. As I say, the reed buntings and the warblers really put on a fantastic display today. And I'm hoping I've got some really good sort of almost portrait shots and some good environmental shots as well. Had showings of the Ward's deer as well. Unlike last time, I think I managed to get a decent picture of those. Had some common terns flying around. This place is just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. What a wildlife haven. Not seen me roe deer this time, but yeah, c'est la vie. It's quite busy down here actually. I'm almost back at the car park, and the car park actually looks quite busy, yet I can't see another single person. A dog walker just walked past me a minute ago and that's it. So it's great down here because it's vast enough so you're not falling over people, but it's also small enough that you can literally do it in a couple of hours. So I got down here at 11, just after 11. By the time I'd sorted my gear and stuff out, it was about 20 past. It's now 20 to 2. And obviously I've been doing quite a bit of filming and taking photos. If you just want to come down here and bird watch, brilliant. It's one of those places where you could spend 2 hours, you could spend 4 hours, you could spend a whole day. Just remember there's no facilities down here. And yeah, I'm just in absolute awe. Now, yeah, coming back to the topic of this week's video, as I say, do you guys use exposure compensation as much? Do you use it a lot? Is it applicable to your camera settings? Obviously, if you're fully manual, including your ISO, and you don't use aperture or shutter priority, well, you won't use it, but if you do use one of those automated settings, do you use exposure compensation? How easy do you find accessing it on your camera? So yeah, obviously let's get a conversation going and stick some comments in the bottom, because it'd be really interesting. There is a reed bunting that's a perfect shot. Just before I sign out, just bear with me one moment. Ah, there we go. That was absolutely cracking. He's still there, chatting away quite happily. So yeah, I'm going to sign out now then. Obviously, if you liked the video, give us the old thumbs up. If you don't already, drop some subscribes from down the bottom and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with our weekly videos. And all that's left for me to say then is this is Mike out. Take care and be safe, everyone. Peace.